I'm Brittany Lewis with Forbes Breaking News. Senator John Barrasso blamed the Biden administration for the ongoing surge of migrants at the southern border during remarks on the Senate floor Thursday. Barrasso directly called out the president over his plans to lift Title 42. While Democrats argue that Title 42 makes it difficult for migrants to seek asylum in the U.S., Republicans think that if the policy is repealed, migration and drug trafficking could increase. Here's more from the Wyoming Republican.
Dangerous national security crisis at the border. And it's all because of the policies and the actions of President Joe Biden. Now, there are a lot of crises that we're facing. There's the border crisis. There's the crisis of high gas prices. There's the crisis of inflation, which is at a 40-year high. And there is the crisis of the issue of international affairs with Vladimir Putin on NATO's doorstep, having invaded Ukraine. When you take a look at all of these, the two that I hear about most at home in Wyoming are that of inflation and that of illegal immigration. The thing that is really bringing this to the fore today, and why I'm coming to the floor to talk about Biden's border crisis, is the announcement that on May 23rd, distressingly, the crisis is going to get a lot worse. On May 23rd, the experts tell us, including people from this own administration, that the number of people illegally coming to this country could double or even triple overnight. Since Joe Biden took office, there have been millions and millions of illegal crossings from our southern border into the United States. The Border Patrol estimates that more than 700,000 illegal immigrants got away from them since Joe Biden has taken office. Now, this includes 62,000 people just last month. Works out to about 2,000 illegal immigrants vanishing into the United States every single day. These are the ones that got away. These aren't the tens and tens of thousands who are coming through the process and being registered and released into the United States. Once they get in, most likely they will never leave. Under Joe Biden, we are breaking record after record, and these are the wrong kind of records to break. Last year, the number of illegal immigrants who've come to the United States is the highest ever recorded. At the same time, America's immigration enforcement is the least amount ever. And to that point, the Biden administration seems to think everything is going just fine. Yesterday, Secretary of Homeland Security testified before Congress. I was on a conference call with him the day before, where we met with a number of the members of the Republican leadership. What the Secretary said yesterday is this. He said, "We have effectively managed an unprecedented number of non-citizens seeking to enter in the United States." Effectively managed. I mean, to me, this is an early candidate for the fact checkers' lie of the year. They haven't effectively managed anything. The only thing they've effectively managed to do is erase the border completely. The men and women on our Border Patrol are working around the clock. They're heroes. Although they've been vilified by the President of the United States, this crisis is happening because Joe Biden's policies have tied the hands of the border agents. They're being both abused and disrespected by this president and this administration. But on Joe Biden's first day in office, he stopped all construction of the border wall. He ended the successful Remain in Mexico policy. In fact, just last week, his lawyers were pleading a case before the Supreme Court to eliminate a policy that protects the national security of our nation. Joe Biden is now ending Title 42. People at home say, what exactly is this Title 42? Well, it is a section of our laws that deal with public health. At the start of the pandemic, the Centers for Disease Control closed our borders to people from coronavirus-impacted areas. So this Title 42 decision by the administration likely at that point saved thousands of American lives, protected our public health, It helped our Border Patrol bring down illegal immigration. Last July, Joe Biden tried to end Title 42. He said coronavirus was over, it was behind him, patting himself on the back. Great job he had done. And then the Delta variant hit the country like a sledgehammer. Joe Biden and the administration were caught by surprise. People looking for testing were running into long lines, empty shelves. He and the administration were caught completely off guard, as has this administration on so many things, on the border, on the failure in Afghanistan, on inflation, which they said was going to be temporary and transitory, month after month after month. The administration showed they have no core competence to run this nation. By September of last year, the Biden administration was forced to admit that 1 in every 5 illegal immigrants coming to this country was bringing disease with them. That's tens of thousands of illegal immigrants bringing disease into a country each month. But now Joe Biden wants to end Title 42 forever and do it in May 23rd. If it ends, we're told and believe that this will cause a tidal wave of illegal immigration like this nation has never seen before. Right now, Homeland Security is preparing for up to 18,000 illegal immigrants each and every day after Title 42 ends. That's 500,000 people a month. That's more. That's a population equal to the entire population of the state of Wyoming. Mr. President, I assume in the state of Maine, I don't know the exact population, but you're bringing 500,000 people in a day. Doesn't take too many days to add up to the population of the state of Maine. So what are Democrats saying about this? Well, Barack Obama's Secretary of Homeland Security, Jay Johnson, who we met with regularly when he was in that position, he once said 1,000 a day would overwhelm the system. Joe Biden seems pretty happy with 18,000 a day. Right now we're at 6,000 a day. We have a system that's overwhelmed, and it's going to get a lot worse. Joe Biden could triple the number of illegal immigrants overnight to 18,000 a day come May 23rd. Earlier this month, former Secretary Jay Johnson, who I alluded to earlier, this is what he said. He said the current crisis trends are unsustainable. Said it overwhelms communities in Texas and Arizona. It overwhelms the Border Patrol. This is Barack Obama's Secretary of Homeland Security saying that. And I believe Secretary Jay Johnson is right. Recently, the head of the Del Rio, Texas Border Patrol Union, and my colleague from Texas is on the floor here, the senior senator, this head of the Del Rio, Texas Border Patrol Union spoke here on Capitol Hill. He said there are some days in Del Rio when officers are so busy with transportation and processing of these illegal immigrants that no one is patrolling the border, the southern border of the United States. And I'm certain that the senior senator, the distinguished senator from Texas, Senator Cornyn, who's on the floor, will address this issue after I get finished speaking, because he sees every weekend as he's home in Texas and talks to people from Texas every day the crisis that is hitting his home state and is hitting this entire nation. So this Del Rio sector covers an area of 240 miles of border, and the head of Del Rio, Texas Border Patrol told us no one is patrolling that section of the border because the personnel are too busy filling out paperwork and moving illegal immigrants from location to location. In Yuma, Arizona, up to 90% of Border Patrol agents are busy with transportation and caretaking duties. 90% of their agents cannot spend their time guarding the border. As a result, large portions of the southern border in Arizona are wide open, which is why I believe the junior senator from Arizona is so vehemently opposing the president of his own party for a reckless move by a president who seems to disregard the importance of even having a border to our nation. Media reports show that 60,000 people right now are waiting at our southern border. They're counting down the days until Title 42 is over. Some of them will bring in drugs. Some will be human traffickers. Some of them may even be on the terror watch list. If you're a foreign terrorist on the terror watch list, this is a dream come true if you're trying to get to America. On May 23rd, we will face a humanitarian crisis, a public health crisis, and a national security crisis all in one, greater, much greater than the one we are facing today, and is already terrifying Americans in every state. Because with an open border, every state is a border state. Every city is a sanctuary city. And people are subjected to the drugs and the crime that is coming with it, and the deaths that are coming as well. Now, many Democrats are asking and telling Joe Biden, keep Title 42 in place. Yet these same Democrats, they voted in lockstep with Chuck Schumer and Joe Biden for the last 15 months. They understand today that Joe Biden's policy is unwise and very unpopular. But these are the same Democrats that came to the floor and voted to stop building the border wall, the same Democrats who in this very chamber voted to give stimulus checks, send out checks to illegal immigrants when they voted last year. Not one of those Democrats joined us in supporting Title 42 last summer. Democrats can run for re-election, but they cannot run from their records. They voted for the Biden border agenda, and every Democrat shares the blame for this crisis. What happens if the border doesn't stay at the border? No, it makes each one of us less safe. Border Patrol tell us they have caught, so far, 42 terrorists trying to cross the border since Joe Biden took office. How many got away? We're hearing the numbers are getting away, 60,000 a month getaways. How many of those are terrorists who are now living in our midst? Federal narcotics agents say that the vast majority of illegal drugs in this country came here over our southern border. That's how they're getting in. Drug doses have never been higher, overdoses have never been higher than they are right now. 100,000 Americans died of drug overdoses last year. People dying every day in every state because of drugs being brought in across the southern border by the lax border policies of Joe Biden and the Democrats. If Title 42 ends, it's going to mean more drugs, more crime, more death in all of our states. Even the Washington Post newspaper, their editorial board, who is not known for being conservative or lining up with conservatives, this is what they recently said. A migrant surge is coming at the border, and Biden is not ready. All of America knows that. They know Biden's not ready. He's not ready to be president, not ready to run the economy, not ready to help with the military, not ready on any level. And at the border, the Washington Post points out, he is not ready. The article went on and said the predictable effect of lifting Title 42 is a new influx of migrants, which would compound an existing surge at the border for weeks or much longer. The Washington Post points out and predicts, absent progress on addressing the root causes, the Biden administration will surely face more chaos at the border. This is an administration of chaos. Washington Post, I believe, and that was my addition, they've ended it by saying more chaos at the border. I'm adding an administration of chaos. Look, the Post is exactly right. This crisis is 100% preventable. It's a crisis of Joe Biden's choosing and Joe Biden's making. It is a crisis that entirely the result of Democrats' reckless open border policies. We need to go back to policies that work. I urge the President to keep Title 42 in place. Listen to the Democrats that are talking to you in addition to us, Mr. President. who say keep Title 42 in place. And enforce the laws on the books. Close the loopholes that encourage illegal immigration. Finish the wall. Bring back the Remain in Mexico policy. We know it works. The American people in every state are pleading with Joe Biden. Only about 1 in 3 Americans support the president's policy at the border. 2/3 don't. Overwhelming numbers oppose what this president is doing to this country in terms of how he's affecting the economy, inflation, energy prices, and the border. This is a president at record low numbers on all of those areas, and it's all of his own doing and his own making. Mr. President, do not make this your own border crisis even worse. Thank you, Mr. President. I yield the floor.